the big MHH and all Falcons. It looks like you did hit live. You snuck one in on me.
Yeah, sometimes it's going to happen. I hit live and you're still talking. I was like, oh, well, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like getting my picture taken like this.
Yeah, they always do the best job of the best freeze frames of
the
us.
Screen captures. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, wow, that's so appealing. I look great. Good morning, guys. It is 7:30 a.m. and I already feel like a zombie. Welcome in, Scott. How you doing? You feeling better compared to last night? What a wild first round. I just want to say real quick, I know that we kind of sometimes got gruff for turning the randomness up, and people were like, oh, your mock draft's not realistic. If we put what happened last night on our mock draft, people would have said we're certifiably insane. The draft is always wild. Buckle up and embrace the randomness. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't have the best day for a multitude of reasons yesterday, and the draft didn't help. But Nick, as an Atlanta sports fan, and I mentioned, people like, oh, sorry. It's like, listen, I don't live and die with the Atlanta Falcons. I don't. I've passed that ship sailed a long time ago.
Yeah.
However, I get angry when people do stuff that's just dumb. That makes me mad. And I mentioned the fact talking about, I really don't like Arsenal FC. I don't like them. They're a London rival to Chelsea, where my fandom actually is. But they did something really stupid with a player I don't like, and I was pissed. I'm like, you're just flushing $30 million down the drain. I'm pissed. I'm pissed about it when people do stupid stuff, because as a professional in sports, you're like, man, give me 1% of that just to not be stupid, and I'll take it. I'll make $300,000 just to save you $30 million just by not being morons. So I get fired up about that type of stuff, but I'm telling you, Nick, I got it figured out.
Well, I'm curious to hear how you have it figured out, and I'm also excited to talk about day 2, because day 2 is always my favorite. Day 3, you start to get to be like, who the heck is that guy? And I watch a good bit of players, but once you get to like round 6 or 7, a lot of those guys are, I knew the name, but I did not have time to watch the actual film of that guy. But let's say hello to some in the chat here. Sunny Days coming in saying, good morning, Broncos country. Happy Friday. Happy first day of the draft for Broncos country. And we also got EJ in the house saying, good morning, Nick and Scott and Broncos country. Excited for Broncos pick 64. If they stay at pick 64, we'll see about that. Clee coming in saying, Drake London or AJ Brown? Yikes. Well, Drake London is cheap, and AJ Brown is about to. What was AJ Brown's contract? It was
$25 million. It was about 4 for 100. The thing is as part of that deal, Clee, he would have had to have agreed to a new contract, and he wasn't ever going to agree to a new contract in the rebuilding stages of where the Falcons are. So they wouldn't. He would have, even if you could make that move, even if he couldn't veto it, he would have vetoed it. He would have said, I'm not going there. I'll play. I'll sulk for a year and then leave. And so that move couldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's man, Eagles had themselves a good draft, going up and getting Jordan Davis right before the Ravens were going to take him. And we have a few connections in the Ravens front office, and apparently Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta was literally on the phone with Jordan Davis when he got the call from the Eagles saying, yep, we moved up and got you. So Ravens were ready to take him at 14. They end up getting Kyle Hamilton. I don't think they're going to shed any tears about that. But
no, and that's cool. Real quick, a programming note, Nick. It says Mile High Huddle up here. We are simulcasting to All Falcons Facebook page. So this is Broncos for Breakfast. This is Forging the Falcons. Thought we'd bring in the whole, Chad likes to say the whole fam family. Well, we're really going to bring them all in here. So we're bringing everybody in. So you are in the right place. You should recognize the faces. We're the only 2 that have done Forging the Falcons. So you should recognize the faces. And we're going to talk a lot of first round, and then into the second round, which is very important for both teams and obviously for the NFL in general. But we're going to do a lot of football talk. You are in the right place, Falcons fans. We're going to talk Falcons.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeremy says, let's take it easy on Scott this morning. Scott can take it. And he said he figured it out. So we're going to hear what he has to say. But let's keep saying hello to some people in here. Going to be a great day. Absolutely. Day 2 is my favorite. I'm super excited. Rough one for the Falcons fans. And CCL. Luke Wright comes in and says, good morning, Nick and Scott. Mark Anthony's in the house. Good to see you, Mark. Always love seeing that very beautiful golden retriever dog there in your picture. Hope they're doing well. You got to tell us the name there. Good morning. Thank goodness we paid Cortland and Patrick. Wide receiver market is just bonkers and hopefully calms down before Judy contract. Definitely possible. I'm curious to see if, given how crazy the market is, if Judy becomes a little bit more expendable for the Broncos to help get some 2023 draft capital. It's easier to trade him. He's going to have more value because he's on his rookie contract than the contracts that you already restructured, upping guarantees for Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick. But I I can't say this directly, but I all but guarantee that the Broncos were getting calls last night on Jerry Jeudy after seeing what happened with the market yesterday. Just everybody's probably calling out wide receivers, freaking out because how the wide receivers came off the board.
Well, I don't know. See, that was one of the things that Carl said last night that I didn't necessarily agree with, talking about, taking these guys are going to be expensive. No, it's just the opposite.
Yep.
You take them while they're cheap. The run on the wide receivers is because of the wide receiver market. I say it all the time. Why do they overreach for quarterbacks? Why were we upset, Nick, about the Falcons passing on Justin Fields and the Broncos passing on Justin Fields? Because it's freaking expensive to get a quarterback, to move up to get a quarterback if one becomes available. Now, this really happened. This year was strange. We had several quarterbacks move. Russell Wilson, it worked out, but it isn't always going to be like that. And if you try and move up, you end up paying Trey Lance money to get Trey Lance, out of North Dakota or North Dakota State or wherever the hell he was from. I didn't watch him play in college. I'm not sure anybody did. So doing that now, you're starting to see, okay, I'm going to take a chance on a couple wide receivers that I'm paying $25 million over 4 years.
Yeah.
And then give them, 11 or 12 in year 5. Or if I hit, if I'm going to have to try and get one of these guys, for $25 million a year. No. Wide receivers. Get them in the draft. Get them young. Let somebody else pay them. There will be a market correction, Nick. There will be. There always is.
Yeah, when's the bubble going to happen? When's it going to pop? But right now we are in a crazy wide receiver world, and good shout out by Mark Anthony there about George Payton going out there and paying Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick. I mean, if I was those guys' agents, I'd be like, hold up. You guys aren't going to training camp. We're holding out, man. The quarterbacks here, they need you. And God, hopefully don't get this to their agent, guys, but crazy good deals. Dom coming in here saying, good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. That was really awesome how 5 of our Georgia Bulldogs, I don't know if it's our over here. Our Iowa Hawkeyes went. We got a pick in the first round, so I'm feeling good.
They're still my Georgia boys wherever they go.
Okay.
If they're from Georgia, that's how I keep track of them. I actually went to Auburn, so I'm not a Georgia Bulldog, but I am a Georgia high school biased homer without a doubt. I am a Georgia boy, even if I'm not a Georgia dog.
Yeah, and it continues on. 5 players in the defense were first picks. Go Dogs. Yeah, I said it last night. That defense was the equivalent to LSU's, was it 2019 offense? Just superstars galore. We're not going to see many defenses like that ever, and not many, I think, going forward to. Just the embarrassment of riches was insane. Bradley Conger, good morning, Broncos country. Kenneth coming in, razzing us, saying with the second round pick, the Falcons select Sky Moore. Sky Moore probably comes off the board quickly today.
Well, listen, let's get into that.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's get into that a little bit because Jason Heller, he's coming in on Facebook too. He's saying should have taken 4 other wide receivers and traded up for defensive or Sauce. Could have taken Jay Johnson later. Could have taken Cross or Penning. Could have traded down. All these are better than options. My instant reaction was on there yesterday, and I'm like, listen. And my friend texted me the same thing. It's like, if they were going to go wide receiver, why not just go Jamison Williams? Because he's the best guy. Well, is he? You listen to Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith last night. They adhere to this best player available thing. They said, no, this is how our board fell. If it was close, maybe we go to a different position. But in their mind, it wasn't close. All right, fine. That's what you're saying publicly. Now, as I'm looking at the board and I'm thinking who's available here, I'm thinking, see, this is why I'm pissed off. Because George Pickens is still there. Christian Watson's still there. Sky Moore's still there. All better value than this guy at number 8. When you can't protect the passer, you can't rush the passer, you can't do anything. It's just kind of a waste. Then I think, wait a minute. If they really do adhere to this best player available and Christian Watson or George Pickens is there at 43, why not? Why the F not?
No, absolutely.
Go another wide receiver. And then you know what? At 82, get Calvin Austin. Go all in. This is a freaking rebuild. I know I've gone nuts, but it actually is. It makes sense. We just talked about all the reasons you want wide receiver. This 2022 team is going to be a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
Get your receivers now. Why not? The oldest one of the bunch would be two of the rookies. Calvin Austin and Christian Watson will both be 23 this year. 6'5" Christian Watson, 6'5" Drake Jackson, 6'6" Kyle Pitts, 5'8", 4'3" Calvin Austin running your 4 in the slot.
Yeah.
All right, now project that 4 years from now and tell me if it makes any sense. Why not? Why not? Man, the hell with it. Go all in. If you're going to be stupid, be full stupid. I'm not going to say the other thing from Tropic Thunder, but you know what? It might just be crazy genius. And Dean Pease, you're talking about Dean Pease and the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. I typed it in a chat. I said, Dean Pease has left the chat. I put that on Twitter today. He's just gone. He's like, man, to hell with this. I'm going back fishing. I'm not doing this stuff. But what, Nick, why not? Why not just go and get these guys? That was one of the things I don't like is like, man, I'd much rather have Christian Watson or George Pickens at 42 and have used 8 somewhere else. Why not just load up? It's the same reason we talked about taking Sauce Gardner at number 8 if he was there, or Derek Stingley, or from my point, Kyle Hamilton. Your best player on the team is AJ Terrell.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it into a strength. All of a sudden, your wide receiver room went from, oh my God, who the F are these guys, to, is this a basketball team with a point guard walking out here? And oh my God, they can run and catch. It'd be pretty interesting. So I'm for it, dude. Go all in.
Yeah, I think you maybe went a little too all in there, talking with after you mentioned taking Pickens / Sky Moore / Christian Watson, but Broncos just a couple years ago.
That's just 3. That's 3 of their first 4 picks.
Yeah.
You need 4 wide receivers. The Falcons don't have 1 right now.
The biggest thing for me is that you're not spacing out those contracts. And then you have 3 guys hitting essentially all at the same time, depending on Drake London's 5th-year option, which is just the finances of that are a bit concerning. But
if all 3 hit, you're pretty happy.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. Yeah, that's true. And the Falcons, too, you still could go wide receiver at that pick, but there's still some really good trench players available, too. I'm shocked to see Arnold Ebiketie, to see Boye Mafe, to see Travis Jones. Drake Jackson, I thought I had a chance to go around one last night. You still have those guys all available. I'm hoping one lands on the Broncos. Still got some good cornerbacks. Andrew Booth is there. Maybe you want to go all Clemson cornerback room there with AJ Terrell across from AJ Booth. That would make some sense. A couple good safeties still available, too. So it's still there's still plenty of talent to be had. And Drake Jackson, if he was your number 1 wide receiver and you knew that the wide receiver is going to come off the board like that, then I get it. Ideally, you trade back to where the Detroit Lions took Jameson Williams. Now, granted, it sounds like Vikings wanted to trade back, so that's kind of hard to do. But you had the top wide receivers in top 4, I would say, in Drake London, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Jameson Williams all come off the board in, God, was it 4 picks? Like 5 picks? Poof. There goes tier 1 wide receivers. You couldn't even.
Nick, that's how you're going to be judged. That's how you're going to be judged. Fontenot said that that they got some talk, they got some offers, but nothing that really made sense for them. So I'm like, okay, listen, and that's how I judged it last year, Nick.
Yep.
Or in this case, didn't judge it because I was ignorant. I didn't have all the information. What do you think of Terry Fontenot? I'd like to know what he was offered for that number 4 last year. Yeah. To move down before I have it. And I would have liked to know what he was offered to move down. Because not only are you talking about the Ravens getting a guy I love every year, and Kyle Hamilton, who I said you should take at 8. Yeah. So you're being judged against Kyle Hamilton in this case, a local kid, Georgia boy, Atlanta kid that went up to Notre Dame from Marist that is going to be an all-pro.
Yeah.
But you also passed on 5 other guys that went in the next 10 picks. So if you had a chance to move down and accumulate draft capital in a place that you are in for a team that's awful and the roster is awful, you're also going to be judged by those other wide receivers. So it was risky. It was risky to stay there and take Drake London.
Yep, it was. And you're right. You'll be judged on if he is wide receiver 1 with that run there, then honestly, good pick. I agree with you on the whole that it doesn't make as much sense long-term to take a wide receiver here. Or I guess immediately doesn't make as much sense, but this isn't an immediate selection. This is about the long-term of the Falcons. And, who are they going to block? Who's going to rush the passer? Doesn't matter because you're not playing for W's in 2022. You're playing for a top 3 draft pick. And call it tanking, don't call it tanking. the roster speaks for itself. Peter Middleton coming in saying, hey, Nick and Scott, what's up? We also got some super chats coming in. Thank you guys for supporting us, as all of our shows are fan funded and brought to you by super chats like Elliot D sponsoring the show today. Thank you, Elliot. Saying, good morning, gents. I'm one of the few who loves re-signing Gordon. Any news on Callahan possibly resigning? Thanks from Page, Arizona. Well, hello in Page, Arizona. Hope you're doing well. I love the re-signing of Melvin Gordon too, because we've talked about it. The Broncos offense and the way it's likely to function is going to be greatly dependent on the running backs being able to be enough of a threat for teams not to just sit in two deep safety shells and to play dime defense. And because Russell Wilson doesn't really utilize the short middle of the field that much, that puts even more onus of that pressure on the running back to get that done. So Javonte Williams alone, a lot of just too much for him to handle, I think, overall. Too much if he gets injured. You didn't have that insurance. Melvin Gordon comes in now. You can keep him fresh. If one gets dinged for a little bit, you can lean on the other one. And it just raises the floor of the offense exponentially. I mean, honestly, because if Javonte Williams did get hurt, everyone knock on wood and pray to the football gods it doesn't happen. But I think the offense's functionality would fall apart. I don't think Mike Boone can carry the load like that. So I'm very happy about Melvin Gordon for the contract, especially.
I don't think the Broncos think Mike Boone can carry the load. That's why we've been talking about it. So I think most folks have been happy that he's coming back, especially at the price. One of the big concerns about Gordon was, one, he was a Charger, two, was the price.
Yep.
Ethan was just coming in too. So let's say Ethan, then we'll come back to Tom.
Okay.
He said, good morning, good afternoon, gents in Broncos country. I hope you're not just getting here when you miss my mental breakdown, but it actually makes sense. It's like, what do they call them? In the insane genius types? Isn't that it? I think that's where I went. I went there this morning. I did. I really did.
Scott's brain popped, but we're good. The coffee is going to kick in. It's going to make it even hyperdrive. Also, any news on Callahan re-signing? Haven't heard anything. We'll see what happens with Callahan. The Broncos could use some slot depth. It depends on the contract, though. They're not going to give him a big deal, and we'll see. I'm happy about Kwan Williams. He's going to be a very good fit for the Broncos in the slot there. If the Broncos don't take a cornerback that has some slot ability, we can revisit Callahan. Tom coming in saying, I understand Judy has not put up numbers yet, but for what teams to give up for both Browns, especially Hollywood, what do you think Judy would have gotten? I think Judy could right now get you an early second-round pick, and Hollywood, I think, came with a little bit of it wasn't just that pick for Hollywood Brown. They also gave a third-round pick, and also Hollywood has a connection with Kyler Murray and wanted to be there. So there's a little bit of extenuating circumstances there for that Hollywood trade specifically. But I think Judy could get you probably an early 2, mid 2 right now. And that's selling low. I don't think you need to have Judy this season regardless. And hopefully he plays so well that you love to keep him, and everything's sunshine and rainbows with Russell Wilson. Him and Sierra and Judy become best friends, the terrible threesome, whatever you want to call it. But the value of Judy right now is probably as low as it's ever going to be. So
Judy had 467 yards last year. Brown's worst season was 584 as a rookie.
Yep.
He had a 1,000-yard year last year.
Yep.
You throw up a 1,000-yard receiving year at, how old is he? He is
probably 24.
24, so he'll be 25 at 24 years old. You're going to be worth a first-round draft pick. So Go get it. It's there. Go get it, Jerry.
Yeah, it's the thing about Jerry Jeudy too is, and first-round picks in general, you can sit out and get a contract extension after 3 years in the league. And I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. And if that did happen, then, a little bit more pressure to move him if the market dictates that. I mean, we keep talking about it. We're just talking circumstances and possibilities. It's not like it's definitely going to happen. Jerry Jeudy's still a very valuable and good wide receiver. Very good, valuable, and contributor here. Peter Middleton. Hey, Nick and Scott. Hey, Peter. Wasn't sure if we'd see you last night. I don't remember seeing you, but hopefully things are well in Cambodia. Roy Osborne in the house. Good morning, Nick and Scott. French vanilla coffee for me. Love that. Jesse in the house. Also, morning, y'all. If last night was any indicator of what's going to happen tonight, buckle your seatbelts because it's going to be a wild ride. Also, Mark came in multiple times last night. Thank you so much, Mark. Good to see you again. Glad to see you. Last night didn't knock the wind out of your sails saying, yawn. I feel that. Get the coffee, Mark. Good morning. And Bradley Conger saying, Nick and Scott are going to kill it this morning. Pound that like button. Thank you so much. Dave Glassman in the house of the hearts. Stone Cold Tim in the house. Timbo Slice.
This is my draft mug.
Join us or die. Yep. There we go.
It's my interview mug. It's my it's my signing day mug too.
I love it. I am oh yeah, that's a good signing day mug. Fallen Sloth coming in. Good morning, Broncos country. Just got off my overnight shift. Time to catch the live show. Yeah, we're talking about it. And Joe Cannon, we got to say hello to our Falcons fans. Obviously, this is Forging the Falcons Day. That's our normal Friday slot. But we're in here combining it because day 2 of the draft. I mean, this is a special occasion, right? This is Christmas. Joe Cannon says, Drake effing London, shake my bleeping head. I see a trade up for Malik Willis in our near future. What do you think? I mean, gosh, the quarterback, Scott, I was doing some digging last night. The last time a quarterback went this late in the draft was the what draft? What year was it?
I think I read it was like '07 or something. I don't know. It's been
1997. 1997.
1997. It's been a while.
Ooh.
And the thing is, it was good to see again. I hate it when people do stupid things. When I came back from the Senior Bowl, they asked me, y'all asked me, Nick, you asked me, what's your overriding impression? You were down there, you're watching the quarterbacks. All the top ones are there except for Corral. What are your impressions? I said, my initial impression is I'm more convinced than ever I don't want a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny Pickett snuck into the first round by a hometown team. The Falcons didn't do the same with a hometown guy in Malik Willis, except, he didn't play here at Georgia Tech or Georgia or Auburn, or actually those are all pretty close. But he didn't end up playing down here. He did play at Auburn. Sorry. Yes, the coffee's kicking in. He left Auburn. But there weren't first-round quarterbacks in this class. And rather than reaching on guys and taking Christian Ponder in the top 15, they let him fall. Let him fall.
Yeah.
And if we need to get a guy later, it's another reminder that this class was what we thought it was. It was
a bunch of day 2 quarterback
and
prospects.
Joe, I'm with you. But do they need to trade up to get Malik Willis? Maybe not. They're 10 picks away right now. Yeah. They're 10 picks away from picking again.
Mm-hmm.
If he's fallen this far, there's a lot of good football players out there that could go. I saw a tweet from Schefter this morning, and I posted underneath it. They said they pick first. They're probably going to stay there. They want a DL, and I'm like, Travis Jones right there to the Bucks. You don't want to be running against him
Behind.
For the next 10 years. He's a
man.
That's the guy. I'm like, I think I also put up there. I was like, you get me Travis Jones and Abraham Lucas to the Falcons, and all is forgiven at number 8.
Day 2, man. Day 2 can salvage it for sure. Thank you so much. We also got the DWI guys coming in saying the number 8 Euros coming in. Wide receiver super for you, Scott. Must say I was a bit surprised of some of the selections in the first round. It's always a surprise. And that's why when you guys are giving us a hard time about this isn't a realistic mock draft simulator, how do you know? Nobody knows. It's crazy.
What I said was, let's see our picks.
Yeah.
And then let's see where they were graded and where they actually went. And we're going to just add it up. We're going to add it up based on, we got this guy at 64. He actually went at 32. So we get 32 points.
Yep.
We're going to add up the last one we did. And you said, I told you they're going to take a wide receiver. So did I. You knew they were going to take a wide receiver. It was in the realistic realms of what they were possibly going to do. The only thing worse I think the Falcons could have done was reach for a quarterback at 8.
Yep.
I think that would have been worse. Again, the phrase I use all the time is it's not the guys you take that you lose that kill you. It's the guys you take and can't play. Drake London can play. Yeah. He's just not going to be as effective as he should be in a proper offense for at least 2 seasons, which for me means not sure that was the right way to go.
I mean, that happened with the Broncos taking Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and then, kind of meandering 2 years with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. Hey, guess what? Now all is forgiven. So Travis coming in saying, good morning, Nick and Scott. Happy Friday. May it be a better day for Scott. Any word on who Denver has to target at pick 64? So yeah, we haven't talked much about the guys available. And we got Ethan saying he's hoping for Bernard Raymond, offensive tackle, Central Michigan. Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle, Washington State. They're out there in the eastern part of the state.
I don't think Raymond falls past the Colts at 42.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I could see the Colts also target Kyler Gordon. They really could use a cornerback.
They could go wide receiver also.
Yep. Christian Watson.
Again, I don't think he falls a good offensive tackle. I don't think he's going to make it to 64 like that. You're just hoping that people are sleeping on the guy way up in Buckwater, Washington, in Washington State in the Pac-12 where nobody's watching unless they play for USC or Oregon. In Oregon.
Pullman is where Washington State is.
I know. I'm joking. Yeah. I'm joking. But Washington State is a true college town. It's my kind of place, honestly. I'd much rather be there than LA. I just end up in places like LA and Manhattan more recently in my life. So it's like, how do I keep ending up in more congested places when all I really want to do is like live out in like 50 acres and not be bothered by anybody?
Yeah, there's some good spots out in the Olympic Peninsula for that, Scott, if you're ever out here. Chad Beach coming in saying, "Morning, fellas, Broncos country. Who do you think we're going to take tonight, or do we trade back? Love the show." I think there's a very good possibility that the Broncos trade up into the second round to get a guy that they're targeting, whether it be a Bernard Raymond or a Abraham Lucas or one of these defensive backs, edge rushers, defensive linemen. Maybe even a center off the board. I'm still scratching my head at the Cole Strange pick there. That one I texted you last night. You might be already in bed. Just Cole Strange, LOL.
No, I
Uh,
responded.
you did? Okay. Did you see
Mhm.
the video of Les Snead and Sean McVay when they were doing a live press conference when that pick came through?
No.
They just start dying laughing, and then Sean McVay said, "Oh, we thought he was going to be there at 104. We wasted our time scouting him. Unbelievable." So it was hilarious.
You and I have both said the same thing. And Chad, thanks for the big stars coming
Oh,
in.
hell yeah.
You and I both said the same thing about him. We like him. We really like him.
Mhm.
In the third,
Yeah.
a plucky little guy, scrappy little guy from a smaller school, getting up and maybe overreaching, coming in the third round. Not in the first.
Yeah.
We didn't mean that. So I think I titled this on my channel, Patriots Get Strange, and the reaction. And that's, it's a play on words, but it's true. That was my friend I was texting with him this morning. I'm like, I'm not going to put a low lights out there, but they're out there. He is
Yeah.
on the wrong side of everyone else's defensive line highlights on my Senior Bowl clips. Check out Travis Jones. He about kills him. Otito Ogbonia. Those guys. I'm like, wait a minute. Cole Strange went before. He's going to go 4 rounds before Ogbonia. Ogbonia ragdolled this dude. So yeah, it's that was a pun intended on this one, because normally I'd say odd, but that was a strange one. That was. And I said it yesterday. Actually, I didn't. It was a different one because I had no idea he was going to go there. The one pick that I said I would probably deride was Zion Johnson. He was a guy I think that was expected to go in the first round that I just wasn't that big a fan of. I think that's a little bit of a reach, not just for the position, but for the player. If you can get an all-pro guard in the first, okay, I'm okay with that. I don't see it, Nick. I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's very smart. He's versatile. He went from Davidson to Boston College, played some tackle there, then kicked into guard and is considered very, very intelligent. I gave them a B- for that pick. I think he's a fine selection there. It's just the positional value of an interior offensive lineman in general. They're in the top 20 when you could have taken, I guess they couldn't have taken a wide receiver. And there was some talk that the Chargers, the Packers, and the Chiefs were trying to get up there for one of those first 4 wide receivers that came off the board, but people were not biting, I guess, besides the Vikings with Detroit. But let's talk to Isaiah coming in here, saying, "My big winners from last night are the Giants, the Ravens, the Lions, and the Jets." I'm going to take out the Lions here just because I guess they didn't give up the worst trade capital to move up from 32 to 12, which still is crazy to me. But I'm going to supplant the Lions here with the Eagles going up and getting Jordan Davis and then also trading for AJ Brown. I mean, good job, Howie. And you still got both your first round picks in 2023 as well. So I thought the Eagles did a great job. The Giants, yes. I mean, getting Kayvon Thibodeau and then Evan Neal. Hello. That's awesome. Ravens getting Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum. Love that for them. And then the Jets, of course. Talking about getting who'd they take it for? They took oh my gosh, name it. It's another. Oh, they took Sauce Gardner, and then they took at 10. They took Garrett Wilson, and then they ended up trading back up and taking Jermaine Johnson. Very good. I mean, all around, very good. They had the capital to move around, and they took advantage of it. So overall, I think those are the bigger winners today, in my opinion. But
and Tom mentioned Jermaine Johnson. It was surprising that he fell that far. The biggest surprise,
Chattanooga. Excuse me, chat. That's my biggest surprise.
Let me see.
Jahan Dotson also 16. That was a big surprise for me that early, but that just kind of leans into how crazy the wide receiver market was this year. And you guys can thank everything traces back to Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals, who then paid DeAndre Hopkins a silly, crazy deal, which then led to the likes of, oh gosh, the guy who went to the Jacksonville Jaguars this season that got a huge contract from them. Then all the trades that happened with the wide receivers. And now here we are. Wide receiver market is going bonkers. Daniel Swarford coming in here with the Stars as well. Thank you so much, Daniel. Good to
appreciate
see you.
Appreciate you, Daniel. And One of our fam. I'm not going to read your name. Apologies.
Yeah.
I already censored myself on that name earlier. Talking about going full stupid on this. I was a little upset with the pick at 8, but it's grown on me, and I'm excited for the bigger picture. Looks like tank season is upon us, and frankly, as fans, that's what we do. We for the most part we rationalize it unless we just absolutely despise it. There's like the 5 stages of grief. That's kind of where it's like you're mad, you're upset, you're in denial, acceptance, all those type of things. That's how it goes. And again, I just thought it was. I just don't like the pick at wide receiver. I keep saying it's a 7-on-7 league. Well, don't you need wide receivers? Because it's becoming a 7-on-7 league. And I say that, and I still believe that. That's why linebackers and running backs aren't getting drafted.
Yep.
But there's so much of this old school in my bones of if you are awful in the trenches, you're awful in the NFL,
Yep.
which in my brain still holds true. And the Falcons are awful in the trenches. Awful.
That being said, nothing they could have done last night and this weekend would have changed them from being awful.
You got to start somewhere, though, don't you?
Yeah.
So on this, again, I started thinking about this, and I didn't really look at it. And it's really a hard comparison because you're talking about two of the worst franchises in the NFL.
Yep.
But going back, I said Calvin Johnson should have been the number 1 overall pick. And I think it was Joe Thomas. I don't know if it wasn't. Joe Thomas went ahead of those guys. Joe Thomas to the Browns, who ended up being a multi-time Pro Bowler, I believe, at left tackle for the 3-time Pro Bowler, left tackle.
No, he went 3. He went 3 overall.
Oh,
it was
3
Demarcus
overall,
Russell.
but Calvin Johnson went after him, didn't he?
Nope, Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson went 2?
And then
okay,
3 was Joe
it blows
Thomas.
that out of the water. But if you're making those 2 decisions, who do you take? Well, Calvin Johnson was a hell of a lot more fun to watch for sure than a good left tackle. But it's hard to say because you're talking about 2 teams that have never been to the Super Bowl. We were asked last night, how do the Ravens keep always getting these guys? How do they keep getting these guys? Well, part of the reason is because you've got the Lions trading away a bunch of picks and going and getting another wide receiver. And Jameson Williams and a guy that might not be ready for a year instead of doing something else that could have helped your team. And you've got the Falcons taking a wide receiver at 8. So therefore, freak defensive players fall to guys like the Ravens and they go and beat your brains out.
Yep. Yeah, they Kyle Hamilton, heck of a pick by them. I'm really excited to see how today plays out still as well. We got Franklin Peterson coming in with a $5 super. You guys are killing it today with the support. We really appreciate you coming in and literally keeping the lights on for us. So late again, that's okay. Better late than never. Sorry about the Falcons picking a wide receiver. Franklin, you're late. You'll have to circle back to Scott having, I wouldn't say it's a mental breakdown, but just
I'm telling you, it makes sense.
A kumbaya moment for you.
If I take what I'm saying to heart like I am and fully embrace it, the tank, this team's going to be terrible, then it didn't really matter who they were going to take this year.
Yeah.
Get the best player available. My question on this, though, and one of the reasons I have a problem with this, one of several reasons I have a problem with it, was Drake London the best guy? Was he? Then he's asked, Darrell Ledbetter, bless him, from Orlando Ledbetter from the AJC pressed Fontenot and Smith. He says, "Oh, you had him in. What'd you time him in the 40?" And Arthur Smith, who's starting to get a little saltier as he's been on the job for a year, is like, "Oh, that's great. Yeah, we're not telling you. He was fast enough for us." Mm-hmm. Like, what are you guys? He's already yours. What do you know? You don't want to. What are you trying to hide? He didn't want to run. Did you tell him not to run? He didn't want to run. He didn't run. He said, "Check the tape." And I'm going to hand this guy $25 million. Is it more contested catches than anyone else because he can't get separation in the Pac-12 where they don't play defense?
He
does
bothers
me a little bit, Nick. It does.
He gets separation, but it's differently.
You see him in the slot? Man, anybody gets open in the slot. That's where you put guys that can't play. You put them in the slot.
Cooper Kupp's done a pretty darn good job.
As a third-round pick, Nick, we can go back and forth in this all the time. You don't draft guys top 10 to play in the slot.
I agree with you.
You move guys that couldn't cut it at top 10 into the slot because they couldn't cut it outside.
A.J. Brown playing in the slot pretty well there. Jerry Jeudy mostly in the slot. C.D. Lamb mostly in the slot.
You're making my point for me, dude.
First-round picks.
And they in the slot because they couldn't do it outside right now. If Jerry Jeudy was better outside and was having – when Cortland Sutton goes down and Judy's outside and he puts up 1,400 yards and then he gets moved back into the slot, we'll have a different conversation.
I just think that the game has changed enough where you're going to be living in 11 personnel, and
And I can
the
get
way
slot guys in the 3rd and 4th round.
you can, but I'm looking for somebody that has. I think the game's slightly changing for the wide receiver position. I mean, we kind of were seeing it last night with the value of them skyrocketing, but you're seeing more 11 personnel than ever before, and defenses are starting to. And this is getting in the weeds about game theory and schematics, but defenses are starting to not give a bleep if you're playing 12 or 21 personnel. They're going to live in nickel and dime anyway. So what's the counter for that offensively? Bigger, stronger slot players that can function as a tight end wide receiver that absolutely kill linebackers and safeties as blockers. That way you can run the ball out of 11 personnel. It's what's made the Rams so dynamic
And
these
those
last few
guys can
seasons.
play outside also.
Yes,
Like I
and
said,
yeah,
if you can play outside, you can always play inside. It
yep,
doesn't work the other direction. That's why the
and I
guys who can play outside are taken higher and are more valuable. Doesn't mean you
yeah,
can't play him in the slot,
yeah.
but I'm not drafting a guy like that just so he can play in the slot.
And I don't think Drake London will only play in the slot. I think he can be an X out there. I think he's probably the best contested catch guy in this
No,
class as well.
I mentioned that because Arthur Smith quibbly said, "You seen him in the slot? Did you check his tape?" Dude, walk-ons play in the slot at USC. Are you joking?
Yeah, I I value that slot a little bit more. I mean, you can probably tell that I value it based on how much we talk about it for the Broncos defense, let alone on the offensive side of the ball. It's an 11 personnel
When
league.
we talk
You got to
about
be able
these
to do it.
walk-ons who made it great, they're not
Yeah.
playing outside at big schools. They're playing
No.
slot.
Yeah. But the body type's changing. The Hunter Renfro bodies, there's fewer and fewer in the league. So we'll continue to monitor
Across the
this.
board, because there's not smaller guys outside either. They're not putting the 5'8" guys outside. They put them in the slot.
They're putting more of them outside just because there's off coverage. Like last year, you had Jalen Ramsey playing
There's
the most
exceptions
slot
to every
snaps.
rule,
Yeah,
as we
for
say.
sure. For sure.
There's the exceptions that prove the rule. The
Yep.
farther away from the ball you are, the bigger, faster, stronger you have to be.
And more length. Yeah. Big E Bronco coming in saying, "Good morning, Nick and Scott. How happy were you to see the draft fall the way it did for the Broncos?" I'm very happy to see the draft fall the way it did. I guess I'm a little bit bummed to see Tyler Smith go in the middle of the first round there, back end middle of the first round, because I was hoping for the Broncos to have options at offensive tackle with a slight trade up, and Tyler Smith would have made some sense there. Now all that's left that I would personally trade up for would be Bernard Raymond. And is he going to make it to pick 50 where it makes sense? I don't know. I think the Broncos are going to be looking to trade up, but I also think that there's a price to that. There's a cap. I think they'd be willing to give up 64 and one of 115 and 116 to move up in the draft. They're not going to give up their day 2 picks. They're not going to package the day 2 picks to get up. So how far can 115 plus 64 get you up in the draft? 10 slots, 12 slots. We'll see. I mean, throw the draft value chart out the window last night after the Lions traded up from 32 to 12, giving up what they did. But still, we'll see. Ethan coming in with 50 pounds. Yes,
Pound
I got it. Good. Pounded. There we go. That's for Ethan.
The gavel. We're gonna have to come up with something. He's pounding that gavel
Yeah.
again. There's all kinds of play on words we can have.
Oh.
But he says, "Okay, Nick and
Good
Scott,
one.
I agree that Denver will trade up in the second with all this talent left. Who are the top 2 targets?" So let's say 50. Let's say the Broncos mess around and get up to 50. Realistically, who do you think is going to be there? I mean, they could fall to 64. Let's turn up the randomness, and we are going to do we're going to finish out a mock. I'm going to take the Falcons. Nick's going to take the Broncos before we get out of here. And I turned up, position of need and all that kind of stuff, and I cranked up the randomness this time. Who are the top 2 targets? I got some names in mind for the Broncos. How about you? Let's say at 50.
For me, at 50 overall, there are 2 names, and it has to do with the positional value as well as not having a first and second round pick next year. You're just not going to be able to get these type of athletes at this position next year in the draft. And even like this, the reason these guys fell this year is because the abundance of the picks, I believe, or the abundance of the edge rushers. It's edge rushers, it's Boye Mafe, it's Arnold Ebiketie. If either of those are there at 50, I'm making the move up. I think those are both dynamic pass rushers with great traits, and the Broncos would do very well to get those guys. We heard George Payton in the pre-draft press conference talk about the value of the edge rusher having waves of pass rusher. It's a heavy rotational position, and you have your top 2 starters. I mean, how much can you depend on Bradley Chubb to stay healthy? How much can you depend on Randy Gregory to be out there on the field? That's a position where I'm concerned about it next season. Also, long term, Bradley Chubb's last year of control. It's Malik Reed last year of control. So edge is a huge need. Those 2 guys stand out to me.
I've already simmed up to the 43rd pick, and it's just kind of in the whole waiting. And Arnold Ebiketie goes 35, Pickens 38, Jalen Petrie 39, Nick Benito 41, Sky Moore 42. So I'm looking at the board of who could be available that's still there, but it's still at 42. So possibly. And I start thinking Drake Jackson, Josh Pascal, Boye Mafe is
That's the
still
one.
there. That's somebody
Yep.
you definitely want to move up for.
I'd be,
And a flyer on here, I like Abraham Lucas. Y'all know that. Offensive
Jones.
tackle, but a flyer on here. And Winnie Pooh actually comes in on Facebook. It's with 3 minutes ago, so at the 07 mark. I'm still up here on with Ethan and Broncos Sunrise about to flash him. And
woo!
but what about David Ajabo? You trade up. It'd be like saying, okay, it's going to take me a fourth, a 64 and a fourth to get up to 50 for a 2023 first round pick.
It's the Achilles injury.
Too much?
The Achilles injury scares me for giving up extra capital to move up for him. Now, if he falls to you, that's a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But moving up for a guy who's already was going to be a project this season, given his run defense, now you don't know when he's going to be back. He's going to be behind the 8 ball in his development. It's not like Jeffrey Simmons, who was a plug and play monster. David Ajabo was already going to take time to be a full 3-down player. So
basically giving up a third and a fourth.
Yeah, if he falls to like pick 60 and you want to jump in front of the Chiefs, that kind of thing, then we're talking. We're going to give you a 5th round pick in 64 to make sure that we get David Ajabo. Okay, let's talk. Let's have some fun. But Broncos Sunrise coming in, formerly Broncos 17-0, formerly Broncos first in the draft. Now
first
Broncos
pick in the
Sunrise.
draft.
First pick in the draft. Yeah, not anymore. Dark Roast, baby. Good morning. Good to see you, Broncos Sunrise, and hopefully we have a good Broncos sunset tonight with the Broncos having right now 3 picks in the draft. We'll see how that works. I think there's going to be some shaking and bacon from George Payton here. And man, Scott, the chat's giving me a little bit of a hard time saying you're speed bagging me this morning. Don't test Scott today. We're going to see how the Kyle Phillips stuff plays out. Excuse me, Kyle Phillips.
Jason Peters saying Falcons
Jackson.
GM and head coach seem clueless from the press briefings that Scott shared. I put up 3 of them on there. And I'll tell you one thing. Terry Fontenot is still pretty affable. Arthur Smith's gotten grouchy. He's the 7 and 10 and the questions, it's almost, he can't come out and say it. But again, one of the things I was talking privately with my friend is he says, a lot of people are really liking this Drake London pick. I don't get it. Tell me why. Because a lot of them underestimate just how bad this roster. Well, first off, I answered because there's a lot of morons out there. Then my second answer was they underestimate just how bad this roster is. And they think that there's no wide receivers, a good wide receiver, and the Falcons are competing again, replacing Calvin Ridley, and we're good to go. They underestimate just how poor the roster is. And so on the surface, good wide receiver, you need a wide receiver. That's a good pick. Might be, but you're still going to stink. It's going to be an awful year, and they can't come out and say that. They can't. So it's going to be hard. As much as they lie about it, they got to put on a happy face, and it's tough. Look at Arthur Smith. Go to my channel and watch some of this. Look at him. He's miserable. Yeah. He's miserable. His mouth is saying we're ecstatic to have Drake London. You don't look ecstatic to me. I know it was late, but still, he's defensive at this point. He is, Jason. He's defensive. For an offensive guy, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, look at that roster. It's going to be pretty hard for them to win any games, and his clock is ticking. Second year in the league.
And that's the problem. Terry Fontenot is going to get the opportunity to waste about $200 million of Arthur Blank's money.
No.
Arthur Smith might not get that opportunity.
Absolutely. And we're going to do a mock draft here at some point. Get your guys' supers in while you still can so we can get to these. Travis Weber coming in saying with Willis, Ritter, Corral, and Howell still out there, which quarterbacks gets drafted first and by who? Willis or Ritter, I think, is going to come off the board here with the first 10 picks in the second round. One of those two will. I'm going to go with, I think it's going to be Ritter. I think Ritter is going to come off the board first. Just too much hype for him being the very high floor, intelligent, super driven, all the intangibles that people scream at. Not that these other guys don't have intangibles, but it seems like Ritter stands out to me out of that. And in the second round, that's when you start to lean into that, in my opinion. So I'll go Ritter.
I think Willis comes off first.
Okay.
I do. We said he could go anywhere from 3 to 30. Well, we missed that. So, and I think I actually said 50 at some point yesterday. So, but I'm still going to go Willis first. I think people will love the tools. I really liked Ritter. But for me, it was Willis, then Ritter, and then drop off, probably Kenny Pickett after that, and Corral were close. Corral, and I didn't get to see Corral as much because he wasn't at the Senior Bowl. And every time I tried to tune in and watch Ole Miss, they were doing everything they could to not let him throw the ball, which, okay, why do I like Matt Corral again for a couple of highlight throws? His own coach doesn't trust him to drop back and throw the ball. So, that was kind of a red flag for me. But again, I don't have enough information to say Corral should be here, Corral should be there. I haven't watched him enough. I honestly haven't.
Yeah, it's I'm curious here, looking at the top of the second round, which guys start to make sense. The one that sticks out to me immediately is the Minnesota Vikings, but if they loved him so much, then why wouldn't they take him at 32 there? They took Lewis Cine instead. So I don't know about the Vikings. Start to kick down a bit. Tennessee Titans, that's a team that definitely could use a quarterback. The Houston Texans, I know they wanted to go with Davis Mills, but maybe this droppage of quarterbacks makes them want to go that way. Seattle Seahawks have back-to-back picks at 40 and 41. Colts, Matt Ryan's obviously not a long-term solution. Then you get to the Falcons. The Lions apparently heavily connected. Washington
I said that about the Colts too. The wild card here is what if Willis is there at 42? Or Ritter. You could take that guy. And for me, it made more sense to say Willis because he could help you next year.
Yeah,
he could. He's got a different skill set that Matt Ryan doesn't have. So when Mike Vick was drafted, he didn't play right away. Chris Chandler was there. Chris Chandler was a really good professional quarterback, but Willis came in and got. I'm trying to use Willis like Mike Vick. Mike Vick came in and got situational plays, red zone, short yardage, et cetera, and he helped the team win. You could be like that. You could be in that same vein with Malik Willis helping the Colts win right away, even if he is a pick of the future. So it wouldn't be totally a for the future pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Chris Walker coming in saying, morning, guys. The Falcons blew up by not trading back. We could have gotten receiver later on. Could you have? You could have gotten Jahan Dotson or Treylon Burks, but are those guys?
Go back to, from 8 to 14.
Get Kyle Hamilton.
Well, yeah, that. Yeah. But again, if someone's offering you a 6 to do it, you tell them to pound sand. So I don't know what they were offered. And Fontenot was asked, and he said there wasn't anything that made it a value for us. What's that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree.
Oh, and just another quick programming note. We are simulcasting to Atlanta Falcons fans on All Falcons on Facebook and to Mile High Huddle. We just have the Mile High Huddle colors up today. But you're in the right place. This is Forging the Falcons with Broncos for Breakfast as a Friday. We're usually off on Fridays, but on a day like this, we wanted to be on today, and we were like, well, we need to do both. We really need to make sure we're in front of both sets of fans. And we've got my number up there, 333. We've got 333 people watching right now across the different platforms. So thank all of you for being here today. We appreciate you. And thank you, Phil, for the support with the stars coming in. It's always a big help, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any other ones coming in, we should get to that. But we got to do a first round, day 2 simulator here. And Winnie Pooh coming in here saying, frequent podcast listener, first time watching the show live. Love the show. That's so nice of you to stop in and say hello, Winnie Pooh. We appreciate that. And like Winnie Pooh says here, we prefer if you guys can join us live. A lot more fun interacting with the chat the more we have in here. But if you can't do that, these go on to the podcast. I do not think that our live coverage of the draft goes into podcast form because, last night we were on air for 4 hours. Tonight will probably be 6 hours. But
I didn't cut the audio up for that one, and I'm not going to until probably Sunday with the huddle up. So there will not be a podcast, but
I don't blame you.
It still lives on YouTube. On YouTube. This is ready to go. I'm queued up here.
Let's do it. Let's have some fun. Day 2 is here. And can you show me again who came off the board?
Yeah, let me zoom in. Let me get comfortable.
Okay.
Let me get comfortable. So I've got the Falcons, and you've got the Broncos, and we finished. Lewis Cine, Travis Jones, who we said at the top of the show after I hit that. Schefter said DL for the. They're looking at DL. They're on the clock.
I think they're looking at Logan Hall. I think it's Logan Hall. But
you think so?
Travis Jones. I mean, they're talking about a 3 technique that they're looking for. Not a nose tackle because they already have the best nose tackle in football in Vita Vea. Travis Jones could play 3 technique. Vita Vea could play 3 technique, but I think it's Logan Hall. I really do.
TD Randall comes in and says, how many QBs are left? All of them except Kenny Pickett. They're all left. What are we placing over on our trades? 5 in the second round? You think?
Yep.
Maybe
I
5.
I
Good
think they're
question, TD. Appreciate you coming in.
so Falcons on the board here. Let's scroll down a little bit. You have the wide receiver come off the board. Andrew Booth would have made some sense. Ebiketie, Bernard Raymond. That's too bad
There's
for the Broncos.
Raymond, I'm sorry.
Jalen Petrie, too bad for the Broncos. N'Kobe Dean there. There goes Sky Moore as well. Sky Moore would be awesome on the Colts. That's a great pick for them. Oh man, Scott, I'm gonna let you obviously take the wheel, but I am thinking maybe this is a good quarterback slot. You have Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder still here, cost controlled. You have more day 2 picks still to fill out the roster. I would have been just as pleased to take if the Falcons traded up to 32 to take Willis or Ridder. Obviously, you don't get the 5th-year option, and also this day 2 pick, in my opinion, in Broncos country. Sorry, this is going to trigger some of y'all. A day 2 pick is not a commitment at the quarterback position. So even if you take a swing on the dice of this guy, should never, ever keep you from taking a quarterback early the next season.
Which is what I said at 8. One of the things that scared me about taking a quarterback at 8 was, would that scare you off from after you go 2-15 this year from taking a quarterback? Or again, you could trade down, but if you don't have your quarterback, then you still have to get your quarterback. So trading down doesn't help you. So if you miss at 8, admit you missed and get your other guy. But I'm willing to take, and I agree with you. If he start at 43, I'm okay with him taking it. Here we go. I talk about how awful the Falcons are in the trenches, and what do? Wide receiver and quarterback, naturally.
Yeah, and can we see who went off the board here for the picks right after you took? There's Abraham Lucas. There's Kyler Gordon. There is Boye Mafe immediately after. All right,
that would have been a pretty good pick. See, there's good options here. Sky Moore went to the Colts. Boye Mafe, Matt Corral, Drake Jackson, 48. Ajabo at 50. That's what we said. What do we do at 50? And Ajabo went to the Chiefs.
I am sad overall because I was hoping for an edge rusher here. Falcons are on the clock again. Can you scroll down a little bit just to see who else? There's Kyler Gordon. I love Kyler Gordon. Abraham Lucas. Scroll down for the...
There's 2 of the guys I really like for the Broncos, Abraham Lucas and Troy Anderson.
Can we see who's available?
Yep.
Kingsley Enagbare, Roger McCreary.
Yeah, tell me who you want so I can take him because it's not your pick.
It's not my pick, but I was maybe going to offer you a trade. But there's no trade here that I'm willing to make. That's just the reality of it. It sucks to suck. Actually, Logan Hall would be a heck of a pick here. I don't think he's going to be this far down the board. There's Christian Watson for you as well. Hey, put your money where your mouth is, Scott.
You know what?
Is that your guy? I mean,
but see, I don't have to because, like I said, if I'm going by the board, I wouldn't mind taking Josh Pascal here.
That's who I would go
as
with.
An edge. I like Christian Watson better personally. But I'm going to risk he's going to be gone. Every time I do this, he's gone. Christian Watson goes. So you know what? Oh man. All in.
Wait a second.
On the wide receiver, huh? And I got Kyle Pitts, I got Drake London, and I got Christian Watson. All of them 6'4" or better. 2 of them running 4.4s, 4.3s, and one of them who won't run.
Let's pause real quick. Scott, answer your phone. Hey, it's George Payton here. And I'm sitting here at pick 64. And I have a couple guys here that I really like. And I think the Packers and the Buccaneers are going to take both of them here. Would you be interested in pick 64 plus?
I'd absolutely move down 6 spots right here. Absolutely.
For pick 116. I mean, we had a good deal last year. We traded last year in the second round. Let's make it back to back. 35 for 40. Let's do it.
You want to make that trade?
Let's do it. I'm about it. I'm going to come up here and get a guy.
We could do it. So let me go. Denver Broncos. Other teams. Where are you?
Your teams.
Oh, your teams. Never actually done this. So we want 64 and 116 for 58.
Could you give me that 213 pick back as well? Or give me a 2023 7.
Okay.
I need to start going away.
I'll do that.
That's a throwaway. All right, the Denver Broncos are on the clock. Let's see what the chat has to say about Nick calling here. Nick, you're an idiot. What are you doing? That's too much. It might be slightly too much. We got a 7th round pick back, and guys, this is a simulator. We're just having fun. Come on. Okay, so now Denver Broncos are on the clock. You made a slight trade up, and I'm not going to go Josh Pascal. I'm going to go with Logan Hall here. I think Logan Hall is a guy that is going to be off the board here pretty quickly today. I'm fine moving up that pick and getting another one here. Are we just doing day 2 today for the simulator? I don't even know.
No, I went 7.
Oh, well, that makes it less fun. But okay, that's fine. So we got Logan Hall. Logan Hall is going to play that 5 technique spot, and you're going to see a lot of 5-1-5.
Christian Watson just went to the Chiefs. I'm telling you, the Chiefs are like your Ravens.
Yeah.
For me, it's like the Ravens always get the guys I like. It seems like the Chiefs are getting those guys now in these mocks. So
Nick doesn't know how to deal, says Jeremy. We're just having fun. Come on.
Josh Pascal. I wanted Pascal and I wanted Watson, and I lost them both by moving down. Which gives me what now? At 60. Now I'm calling again. You want to make another deal?
Tariq Woolen, Perrion Winfrey.
I just went with Perrion Winfrey at 64.
Okay, now we're on the board at 74. Back-to-back picks here.
That's me. And if I saw the tight end still there, I wouldn't be afraid to take that. Calvin Austin at 80. I've got 74 and 82 now. I'm gonna gamble
be a great pick
that
for
he's
you
still
guys.
there. I'm gonna go Chad Muma on this one because the Falcons lost their NFL's leading tackler. They replaced him with Rashaan Evans on a 1-year deal. I'm gonna go Muma.
Yep. And I probably would have gone Muma if he was still available for the Broncos, but alas, here we are. And I'm telling you guys, it sounds like right now, pick 64 plus a day 3 pick for the Broncos to move up, pick 75, trading down. Obviously, things can happen in the draft, but I think that's where the Broncos are hoping to go here. Can you scroll down a bit for me? So far, I'm absolutely hating this board for the Broncos. Still hating it. Yeah, it's poop. Oh, actually, there's my pick. It's going to be Cam Jurgens, center from Nebraska. I think he's going to be going round 2 today. So to get a starting center here, the Broncos are having the draft that you wanted, Scott, fortifying the trenches, attacking it there. So having some fun with it.
I was just going to go Sam Williams. I was like, you know what? If I'm willing to go after Deshaun Watson, I shouldn't be scared off by Sam Williams. So I was actually going to take Sam Williams there.
Yep.
I could use a good swing offensive lineman. I know it says tackle. I'm going to go Zach Tom in that spot.
All right, so the Broncos are on the board. We've taken a center.
Carson Strong falling like a rock.
That's what happens when you're not a great athlete at the position with knee issues.
And you're hurt.
Yep, and not great. Name really sticks out here for me for the Broncos is Mathis from Pittsburgh.
Fedarian Mathis?
No. Damari. One down.
Damari Mathis, okay.
Yep, Damari Mathis. Played in that heavy cover 4 scheme for the Pittsburgh Panthers. He's a very good tackler. He tested like a great athlete. Good length. I think he is if you want Cam Taylor-Britt in pick 64 to 75, then you're targeting Damari Mathis at pick 96, 115, 116. I really, really do like Damari Mathis.
There goes James Cook at 104 to the Rams. I was going to take him to appease my mad Falcons fans who are Georgia fans.
Mm-hmm. So now the Broncos are back on the clock here.
I'm going to double up. I went Zach Tom. Now I'm going to go tackle.
Oh, you have 114. Wow, I really like you having 114 and 116. That's fun for you. Sandwich for the Broncos in between. This is a Nick and Scott Oreo going on here. Let's scroll down. I'm just looking to see if there's any deficiencies in the board.
There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them right there. Actually, can you go tight end? I just want to see what the board looks like for the tight end position. I didn't see Jelani Woods come off the board yet, but maybe he did.
He did, because I would have taken him earlier.
Okay. I don't think we've mocked him to the Broncos a single time so far, and I love his blocking. So I'm going to say Jeremy Ruckert here. The Broncos could use a tight end who functions as a good blocker. He's good up the seam. He's not the most dynamic athlete. I'm fine with, honest to God, Cade Otton or Jeremy Ruckert here, but just for a little variety, which is the spice of life, I really like taking Jeremy Ruckert here. And this is where the Broncos, I think, should be targeting tight end.
And you've almost talked me into Brandon Smith.
The instincts and the physicality are concerned.
I need a couple of these guys. If I'm the Falcons, I need to get lucky.
Also, another player similar to him, but a different position is Tyson Anderson, who is a safety, but he is massive. He's got great length. I think he was a valedictorian at high school. Very, very, very intelligent. I really like Tyson Anderson as well. Keep an eye out for him in the draft. One of my favorites.
I pick at now 151. He's a running back. Look to Smith, Neil Farrell. Not a fan here. He's a little slow. Oh, you know who I do like though? I do like JT Woods.
Yeah, you can take JT Woods. I think you should have taken Brian Robinson just for the functionality of the offense. He's a really good running back. But is what it is. So let's scroll down a bit. And guys, I know that we're not doing any trades here, but the Broncos are going to be working the phones.
Except the one that we did.
Yeah.
We're not going to do any trades except the one that we did.
For fun. Why not? So let's scroll down here. Brandon
and
Smith
Roth, we get it. But from a physical standpoint, he's worth a flyer at 4. I'm going to put him on the practice squad. And I'm going to say you're going to have to fight your way out of it.
Yeah, and also yesterday, if we did a mock draft and you took Malik Willis there at pick 44 for the Falcons, we would have said the same thing. It's unpredictable. Who knows? Okay, so the Broncos are on the clock here. Man, I am not happy with how the board is looking right now. It's a whole bunch of yuck. Oh man, I'm really not looking at. I mean, the name that sticks out to me is Joshua Williams, but it's just because we're cheating the system.
Yeah, and you can get him
later
the
on.
system's not going to take him. The system you can get him at. You might want to take him at 206 because I'll probably take him after that.
Yeah. Now let's scroll down some just because this is my own personal board here. And look at how this is what happens when you turn up the positional value. Linebacker, running back, linebacker, running back, halfback. It's
There's
just
Eric
kind of
Johnson too.
It's a little early for him. We also already took yeah, Scott, this is who I'm going to take.
I went down too far. My guy, Otito Ogbonnia.
Yeah, he's totally different.
This pick.
I'm going to take Otito Ogbonnia.
Yeah,
he's totally different than Logan Hall.
He's a beast. Let me
fortify the trenches here.
I put his video up. I'm sure I've got video of him ragdolling the number one pick of the New England Patriots, which I think all of us can enjoy.
Yeah.
Senior Bowl 2022. Let me grab this here real quick. By date, Otito Ogbonnia. I think he's 6'5", 300-something pounds. 330. I think he's 6'5", 330 with an 84. This is him against – actually, that's Zion. That was that guy he just blew by and through was someone else's number one pick, Zion Johnson.
Yep.
Here's the other number one pick he's going against.
Whew.
Here come the flags because he just got annihilated. That's two number one picks right there. Again, Nick, explain to me again why this guy should last until the 5th round. Number one pick, Zion Johnson. We'll see you later. First round pick, Cole Strange.
Yeah.
You're outmatched, kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's height, weight, speed, length, power. Didn't really play much zero technique for UCLA. Actually played a lot of 2I, but going to be an interesting pick there for them. And CC and Jeremy razzing me saying we should stop or we should restart because Nick has done so bad. Come on, it's been fine. The options haven't been very good. But I'm
going to go. The Falcons are on at 190. I'm going to get another running back here. Big, strong kid from Alabama.
He makes so much sense for you guys.
I think Auburn used to be the number 2 team in the Metro Atlanta area behind Georgia. Now, it might be Alabama now.
Brian Robinson.
All the Auburn fans flee Alabama because it's full of Alabama fans, but their Alabama fans under this run under Nick Saban the last 15 years have stretched out again. So this will be a good pick for to get the Roll Tiders happy.
Yeah,
and he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I said he's a similar version to Josh Jacobs. He's not that far off, in my opinion, with his running style.
I really like him. He's a very good back, in my opinion. So the Broncos are now back on the board here. Keep scrolling. We're just going to trust our own heart here with the board. I don't care what PFF says this far down. Keep scrolling down.
Real quick here. Nick, didn't you hate on Zion Johnson? He went to the Chargers. I couldn't remember where he went. Was that a reach for them? That was the one guy, Zebulon, that I said, we're asked, who wouldn't you like as a pick? That was the one guy I said that is expected to go in the first round that I don't think should. I think that's too high for him. So that was me. I was like, I don't care where he goes. I'm not going to change my mind. I think it's a reach, and we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, the Chargers he has one of the highest floors in this class, which I am okay with them going that direction. But
he just got thrown to the floor by by a guy who's going to go in the 5th round.
Yeah, but in the interior offensive line, you're not going to be on an island that often, which they had in those situations. Yeah, but it's first round pick. You're going to want that guy to be on an island.
It's a first round pick against a guy who's not. Again, it's not so much for me, Zion Johnson. Again, because you're right. It's me. Why isn't Ogbonnia getting more love? That's the bigger question for me. Ogbonnia's a beast.
Yep. Keep scrolling down for me here. I just want to see who's available. Jerome Ford this late? That's awesome. Cade Mays is a guard. Isaiah Likely is super late here. Okay, I'm going to take he's my guy. I'm going to take Darrell Rosenthal here. PFF has him low. I'm going to get a bad grade on that pick. I don't care. I would be shocked if he doesn't go this high. His biggest issue is he's going to need to put on some weight at the next level because he came in at like 295, but go put on Kentucky's tape. If you guys have a little time today, which who knows, but if you have a little time, go check out Kentucky's tape this year. Watch their left tackle, Jared Rosenthal. He's 6'6". He's got 33 and 7/8 arm lengths, and he has, I think his 40-yard dash was in the 95th percentile at the combine. He moves so great. I mean, I love his movement skills. So the Broncos are on the clock here. You know what? Scott's leading the witness here. Let's go Matt Araiza. Let's do it. And then the next pick here for the Broncos.
I like that phrase.
Let me see the safeties.
I was letting you guys do your picks. I'm like, this is who you want to take. I'm in the producer chair going, just go ahead and take this guy. I'm going to hover over it until you say yes.
You're like John Elway in the draft room, probably. Hey, this guy is really good.
I don't want to try and say it, but this guy's really good. And I'm signing your check.
Can we see the safeties?
So you got one more pick. You want Wanya?
I do. Yep, that's my guy. Marquise Bell is also an option there, in my opinion. But definitely, there he goes, Marquise Bell off the board. So, yeah, guys, I did trade up to get Logan Hall, and he's going to be a little bit of inside-outside rusher, but I don't care. It is what it is. So there's the Falcons board. Scott's going to get a better grade than me because I went with my own personal thing against PFF's board.
Oh, and I didn't. I got guys that couldn't play just based on the board because I don't know what I'm doing. Is that what you just said?
No, but I really leaned into my own personal opinion on this one. Brian Robinson is a great pick. Oh, you took Joshua Williams? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I snuck him. I told you better get him before 213 because I'll take him with my last one.
It felt too dirty. I couldn't do it. I really like this for you guys. Zach Tom's going to be a great player across the board for you. Gives you somebody to push Matt Hennessy as well at left tackle. Braxton Jones can get development for a year. Brandon Smith, that's just a lottery ticket on a freak athlete. Same with JT Woods, but that's where you're taking your freak athletes.
Yep.
Brian Robinson.
JT Woods, these are two of the best athletes in the entire draft that I got at one in the 4th and 5th round. Again, I think JT Woods is better in coverage than he gets credit for.
Yeah.
But again, I like him regardless. And then just the fact that he is such an athletic monster is just a bonus.
They gave me a D+ for Cam Jurgens.
Cam Jurgens at 75. Logan Hall. They're not real high on Logan Hall. I think I was underselling him a little bit. And a D+ for Ogbania. That was coming.
And Rosenthal as well.
Would they give you? Because I got a B-. If we both get B-, is that's the good thing?
I think so. That's decently fair. I don't know who ended up winning that trade. I just kind of wanted to get another pick there.
But Max Clee says, I trust Scott to pick better for the Falcons and Fontenot at this point. We'll see. It's kind of like being an official. I think I said that last night. Everybody in rec sports, if you've got kids, everybody should ref one game or at least be work the sidelines, being an AR, an assistant referee. And everybody should coach one game. And just realize it's hard. So until you're in that chair, it's easy to sit here and say those type of things. But with the phones going and all that kind of stuff, I don't know what to do. Stop talking to me. But I'd be confident. I'd feel confident making the picks and building a team.
And to be completely honest with that trade that came in here, I probably wouldn't have made the trade without getting a little bit more. But I didn't want to. We're already at an hour and 7 minutes, so I didn't want to haggle with Scott here live and have a 10-minute phone conversation. Maybe you should send me instead of the 2023 7.
They thought it was pretty even. PFF thought it was about even.
Yeah.
And frankly, that's cheaper than what you got last year.
Yeah, but it's further down the draft.
No, it was. I'm sorry, it was. I got a little bit more because I got a 4 and only went up 6 spots, like 10% instead
5
of
spots.
20%.
Yeah.
In the from 40 to 35, going up like 12, 13%.
I probably
would you trade it for Raymond, and how high would you go?
I would be on the phone. The question is, how high can pick 64 plus 115 get you? It's not how high would you go. It's like, are you willing to accept 64 plus 115? Because that's as high as I'll go. And if somebody doesn't want that, then I guess too bad, so sad. We're not moving up. But I'm not looking to trade away the day 2 capital other than pick 64. And I'm looking also to trade picks 75 back into day 3 and get 2023 capital as well.
So you come out of there like this. The problem is I don't have any faith that they will. Again, I almost lean into it here. Excuse me. Christian Watson. But actually, was Christian Watson available at 63?
He was not. He went to the Chiefs at like 61 or 62.
58 or something, didn't he?
He went the Chiefs, which was one of the last picks. I think they're 62.
No, he was available.
There he is.
Where? Christian Watson at 62.
Yep, 62.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
That's right. The thing, You're right. So, all right. On that note, it's probably about time we get out of here.
Yeah.
I've been up since 5. I woke up pissed off. Had trouble going back to sleep.
Well, I sent you Nate Tice's scouting report on Drake London and the grade, so hopefully you feel a little bit better about that because Nate Tice
I'm sure everybody's. He's like I said. On that note, it makes sense. You need a wide receiver. You got a good one. Okay, well, round peg, round hole.
And the other
you
thing
needed
about
everything else though, and I'm not sure. I feel like there's good wide receivers in every draft. Obviously, there were enough of them here that to take one first and not come back at all. Again, I think you could have moved down some and gotten something back and filled some more holes if you wanted a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know. You couldn't have talked me into any of the wide receivers over Kyle Hamilton in that pick. Couldn't have done it.
Yeah. Yep. And Ethan coming in as a closer. We were waiting on you. Now we can go home. I guess we are home. Ethan says, for all of us, thank you for the mock drafts, even though we give you both grief. It's fun all around. I wouldn't know any of these players, but for your drafts and analysis, #the closer. Thank you very much, Ethan, for supporting us and for the kind words, both tremendously helpful. And I know you're over there in Europe, but hopefully we can see you tonight as well on the board and enjoying day 2 of the draft. Hopefully you can stay up for that. If not, I get it. You got things to do. Not everybody can stay up that late. And Mark also coming in here saying, what time tonight? Scott, what time tonight are we going to be on?
What time do you guys want to go on? What time's the draft start? 8 again?
It starts an hour earlier today.
An hour earlier. So, I would say that folks need to be on at 6:55 Eastern.
So 3:40, we'll probably be live at 3:45 would be my assumption. Just gives us a little bit of time to get everything together. But 3:45 is what I'm expecting. So we'll see. And Muma 75, there's no way. What have we talked about all day?
And how many linebackers are still there? Full results. Let's start down here at 42. There's a bunch of linebackers there. There's Leo Chenal at 47. DeMarvin Leal, Abraham Lucas, Troy Anderson goes. They do have him higher. Mm-hmm. So if he doesn't, maybe Troy Anderson falls at 75. I'd take Troy Anderson at 75 in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. In a heartbeat, I would take him at 75. Love that guy. I love him.
Yeah.
Perion Winfrey at 64. He's falling so much, but I believe what I saw. I'm going to believe my eyes on this one. Unless again they are operating with more information than I have, so there might be something more into it. But the questions were about his motor and his drive, and he went and just killed it at the Senior Bowl. He was a practice week MVP. He was the game MVP. His measurables are great. Yes, please. The Broncos and Falcons are both lining up in 3-4s. He slots into that 3-4 end spot perfectly. Love this guy.
Yeah.
And then you can rush the passer when you come when you move into 4-3 and 2 passing situations. Perion Winfrey for me. Yes, please.
Yeah, and real quick, we have Malachi Martin coming in, $2 super saying, are the wide receivers expendable now? No, they're not expendable. But if somebody's offering me a 2023 one for Jerry Jeudy, I'm not hanging up the phone right now, especially because, the volatility in the NFL, that 2023 one could be a top 10 pick next year. You never know the range.
To get out of here, let me play some sound for you real quick, okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me see if I can find this. Let me make sure I can find it here. Over here we go. Listen to this. This is Colts general manager Chris Ballard on the wide receiver position.
I think they've always been, I always say this, it's the most overgraded and overdrafted position in the draft. Like when we break it down, like we'll have grades on freaking every wideout. Now shifting through and I think off the top of my head, I think it's the one that's the most drafted, the most players drafted in the draft is wideout. So yeah, it's not, and I don't know if it's ever been easy, Greg. I think if you just look at history, I don't know if it's ever been, a real easy position. And look, usually when, the quarterback has a lot to do with that too. He can make guys look good. No, I do.
Sorry, I removed me. But again, the quarterback has a lot to say about it. But he's getting paid too. Offensive line has a lot to say about it. It is a dependent position to a certain extent. But as Ballard said, the overgraded and most overdrafted position in the NFL. Would you agree with that? I mean, probably be quarterback still. Would you agree with that? Or is it probability based on the fact that there are the most taken, so therefore you will still have the most lower round guys hit because just sheer numbers?
It really depends on the quarterback. It depends on where you are in a life cycle, and it depends on how good you are at evaluating these guys. If you don't have a wide receiver, you're cooked too. You need playmakers in space. It's an explosive play game right now, and if you don't have the guys on the outside to make explosive plays, you're not going to be able to consistently put together 10, 12 play drives and score touchdowns.
For all the dynasties that I grew up with, I can tell you who the wide receivers were.
Yep.
You know, I can. Now, the Patriots, I can tell you the quarterback was. The wide receivers, to a certain extent, have been interchangeable over the course of Tom Brady's career. But again, the big, strong body control wide receivers, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, were the two go-to guys for the 80s dynasties of the 49ers and the 90s dynasties of the Cowboys. Overgraded, overdrafted. Right now, it might be overpaid when there's one ball and you can spread it around. So,
yep. And
they're
I want
not
to show you one more.
No, are they interchangeable? Maybe.
And I want to show you one more thing before we get out of here, just because I had a very good laugh with this one. There we go. Can you see that?
It's coming up. Yep, there we go. Oh.
This is the reaction to the Les Snead over here on the right and Sean McVay on the left to Cole Strange, Chattanooga, going in the look at Sean McVay's face. Going in the first round.
Really? Just went. Oh my, UT Chattanooga to the first round. Hey, where is?
How about that? And we wasted our time watching him thinking he'd be at 104 maybe.
Oh my God. That's going to come. Those are one of those. You're lucky he's not like I mean, you can make an impact as a center, but you're not sacking the quarterback 4 times. You're not catching 3 touchdown passes. You're not throwing for 4 touchdown passes. You can get away with that a little bit better with an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Because, they're not doing sack dances.
Yeah.
Touchdown celebrations. But that could come back to bite you big time.
You know what? If any team has the ability to laugh right now, it is Les Snead, F them picks, and Sean McVay.
If anybody has the ability to laugh at life right now, it's Sean McVay. I've seen his real estate wife, his real estate wife. I got a pretty good idea what his bank account looks like.
Oh man,
he might not be able to raise his hand because of the new Super Bowl ring. Sean McVay he's living the life, man. He's living the life.
Yeah, I enjoy that. But on the other hand, they valued him enough to think that he was a target for them at 104. So they did like him.
Sure,
but
we did too. In the third.
Yeah, that's we'll see how that one plays out.
Strange. Everybody across all the different channels, Twitch, couple of YouTube accounts, couple of Facebook accounts. Hope you enjoyed it tonight. We certainly enjoyed you being here today for sure. Yeah. And we had fun again as always this morning. Thanks to several of our super chat superstars, including Ethan, Mark Schrader, as always. I'd have to scroll up again to take a look. There were so many of you that came in. I feel bad when I just single out a few. Like I don't mean TD Randall. I don't mean to be leaving anybody out. I promise you. I'm not quite as good at remembering them off the top of my head. So thanks to all of you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Make sure you're following Scott and I on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendall MHH. Also be following us at Huddle Up Pod, at Mile High Huddle, and at BFB_pod as well. Make sure you're joining us on our Facebook community, facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. And if you have not done so yet, please subscribe, like, and share. We are going to be live again tonight. Shout out to Lawrence Rivera as well, saying no love again. Lawrence, I'm giving you the love. Although your linebacker propaganda will not see the light of day in here. No, we'll see what happens the Broncos do today with pick 64, 75-96, as well the Falcons as well. So hopefully see you guys tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun again, and even greater and better and everything than day one, because we're going to have some new Broncos in here. So thank you guys so much. Scott, hopefully day 2 goes better for you. There's still a lot of trench players available. Should be fun for the Falcons. And you get 4 picks today. This is
Friday. I've been up since 5, so a lot of my work's already done.
Yeah, awesome. You're just going to sit back and enjoy.
Get outside, listen to some music, and cut the grass in the afternoon.
There you go. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here. We will see you in a short bit, really. And day 2 of the draft, my favorite day. Everyone have a great Friday. See you soon. Choose compassion. Choose kindness. Go Broncos. and go Falcons, I guess. We'll say that one too. All right, bye.